I didn't.
Are you going to?
I wouldn't have thought they
okay?
would make two jackets
Ready to roll?
You wouldn't have thought they produced more than one, right?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Marion County Board of County Commissioners. This is our regularly scheduled meeting held on the third Tuesday of each month at 9 a.m. It is December the 18th, 2018. And the zoning portion of this meeting will be held this afternoon at 2 p.m. All commission and zoning meetings are open to the public. To encourage participation and ensure equal access to all participants and foster mutual respect, please follow these guidelines. As a courtesy to others, please silence your cell phones and electronic devices before entering this auditorium. If you need to take a call, please step outside. If you want to address the commissioners, you may do so at the beginning of this meeting during the part of general public items, and again at the end of the meeting at additional public comment sections. When you step up to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. You must provide any documentation to the deputy clerk. Any information that you provide to us will become public record. Please keep your comments no more than 2 minutes unless you have signed up specifically to speak to us this morning and your name is on the agenda. Then you will have 5 minutes for your public comment and remarks. Please stay very specific to the issue and refrain from making any sales pitches or personal remarks directed at staff or commissioners. General public items, public hearings, and consent agenda items and other items for the board that we are expected to discuss can be found on the Marion County website at www.marioncountyfl.org, and that is typically available before the Friday of each meeting. You can click on the agendas link on the home page to download the agenda packet and any backup documentation. And if you care to follow along with us, whether you're at home watching or in the audience, you may access and do that as well. Anyone who requires any accommodations due to a disability or a physical impairment should contact the Marion County Administration at 352-438-2300 at least 2 days before a meeting. The Marion County Clerk of Court keeps the official minutes and the audio recordings of commission meetings, workshops, and public hearings. To request a copy of these materials, please contact the clerk's office at 352-671-5622. Marion County also offers audio recordings, video recordings of most board meetings, workshops, and public hearings when applicable. And for information about these video recordings, call the Marion County Administration. And again, that number is 352-438-2300. So this meeting again is called to order. And if you'll please stand with me for the invocation and pledge led by Commissioner Bryant.
Father, we come to you today in this season of Christmas that we are about to enter, and we ask that as we go into this season that we remember the reason that we celebrate, and that's the birth of our Savior. Father, we hope that you will help us to be able to be a little calmer, spread a little more peace as we go into the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, and that we hope that you'll help us to remember those that are less fortunate than us, and to remember that it's not about the Christmas tree, it's not about the presents, but it's about your Son, our Savior. It's about spending time with family. It's about just staying still for a moment and remembering the reason that we celebrate. Father, we ask that you place a special hand of protection over those that watch over us, and that you just help us to go through this season with a little more peace. In the Lord Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Chairman Stone?
Here.
Vice Chairman Moore?
Here.
Commissioner Bryant?
Here.
Commissioner Gold?
Here.
Commissioner Zalek?
Here.
Thank you. I'm glad to see us also present and sporting our holiday attire. Very fitting for the season. Announcements for the day. Again, as I shared earlier, this is our regularly scheduled meeting that we are in the process of holding right now, commission meeting. We will also convene at 1:50 this afternoon for a meeting of the Marion County Community Redevelopment Area Board. And then immediately following at 2 p.m. today, we will have our zoning meeting, which is regularly scheduled for the third Tuesday of every month. On December the 19th, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., the Ocala-Marion County Transportation Planning Organization will be meeting here in the auditorium for a special meeting to discuss the notice of resignation of the TPO director and any issues related to the foregoing matter. January the 1st would typically be our first meeting, as it is the first Tuesday of the month. There will not be a meeting on January the 1st. We wish all of you a very happy new year. That meeting will take place on January the 15th, and that will be held at 9 a.m. here in Marion County Auditorium. January the 7th at 10 a.m., there will be a commission workshop. That will be a joint workshop with the Alachua County Board of County Commissioners to discuss and plan matters of mutual interest. That will take place at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion Auditorium. And again, January the 15th, the morning will be our regularly scheduled commission meeting, and then that afternoon we will also hold our zoning meeting at 2 p.m. And those are the announcements from the commission this morning. If we'll go on into item number 1 for proclamations and presentations.
So moved. Second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Bryant, second by Commissioner Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, commissioners, if you'll please join me, well, I'm going to say on the front row. We're all going to be treated to a concert this morning by the Marion County Volunteer Employee Choir. And again, please sit back and enjoy the music.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Great to be here again with you today. Thank you for allowing us to come before you to share with you the true meaning of Christmas. We've worked hard on our program this year, and we hope that you're going to like it as much as we do. And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone round about them, and they were so afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God, and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
Follow the star to a place unexpected. Would you believe after all we projected a child in a manger?
Lowly and small, the weakest of all, unlikeliest hero, wrapped in his mother's shawl, just a child.
Is this who we waited for? 'Cause how many kings stepped down from their thrones? How many lords have abandoned their homes? How many graves have become the least for me? And how many gods have poured out their hearts to romance a world that is torn all apart? How many fathers gave up their sons for me? Bring in our gifts for the newborn Savior, all that we have, whether costly or meet, because we believe.
Gold for his honor and frankincense for his pleasure and myrrh, for the cross he will suffer. Do you believe?
Is this who we waited for? How many kings stepped down from their thrones? How many lords have abandoned their homes? How many graves have become the least for me? And how many gods have poured out their hearts to romance a world that is torn all apart? How many fathers gave up their sons for me? Only one did that for me. All for me. All for you. All for me. All for you.
to carry your Son.
Breath of heaven, hold me together, be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, lighten my darkness, pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven.
Do you wonder, as you watch my face, if a wiser one should have had my place?
But I offer
All I am
for the mercy
of your plan. Help me be strong.
strong.
Help me be.
Help me. Help me. Breath of heaven, hold me together, be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, lighten my darkness, pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven. Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? This child that you delivered will soon deliver you.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight to a blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will calm the storm with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has walked where angels trod? When you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God.
The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will leap, the dumb will speak, the praises of the Lamb.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy is Lord of all creation?
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day rule the nations? Did you know that your baby boy is heaven's perfect lamb? The sleeping child you're holding is the great I am.
Your child is this who lay to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping.
This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him the babe, the Son of Mary. Why lies he in such mean estate, where ox and lamb are feeding? Good Christian, fear for sinners here, the silent word is pleading. Nail, spear shall pierce him through, the cross be borne for me, for you. Hail, hail, the Word made flesh, the babe, the Son of Mary. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh, come peasant king to own him. The King of kings salvation brings, let loving hearts enthrone him. Raise, raise the song on high, the Virgin sings her lullaby. Joy, joy, for Christ is born, the babe, the Son of Mary. The babe, the Son of Mary. Sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven, heaven, nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders, wonders of his love.
Silver bells all seem to say, throw cares away.
Ding
Christmas is here,
dong,
ringing its cheer,
ding
ding
dong,
and the bowl,
ding
dong,
dong,
ding
ding
dong.
dong. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filled in the air. Oh, how happy are their tones, gaily they ring while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here, ding dong, that is the song with joyful rings, all caroling. Ding dong, ding ding.
Their joyful song to every
dong. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I do want to thank again the Employee Volunteer Christmas Choir for that lovely concert this morning, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as we do. That was an excellent rendition of all those beautiful songs. So now we're going to present our proclamation this morning. This will be a proclamation to celebrate the 110th anniversary of the General Federation of Women's Clubs of the Women Club of Ocala. And Commissioner Bryan is going to present this, so if we could please have Judy Delk and all of these lovely ladies that are visiting with us this morning join us.
Good morning. So good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. It's so good to see you. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
This is our president.
Okay.
Two past presidents.
Two past presidents. Okay. So. Good morning, everyone. It is our pleasure to have you ladies here with us this morning and celebrating our Federation of Women's Club, and I'll just go ahead and introduce everybody then, Miss Judy. So this is Sonia Palmer, the president of the local General Federation of Women's Clubs, and then our past president, Frances Colonia, a past president, Mary Lou Todd, and then, of course, Judy Delk, and Judy's involved in many things in Marion County. So, ladies, welcome. We're so proud to have you here with us this morning. Absolutely. So with that, and you have one more that didn't want to come up? You know that's not allowed. You know I'm going to call you up here. Come on.
She's a recent member of our club. She came from Orange Park Women's Club, 35 years over there.
Wonderful. And Amanda's going to grab your camera and she's going to take some pictures for you as well.
Out of film.
Oh, she's out of film. Okay, so any pictures that Jeff takes, he can email them to all of you, and he takes great pictures. Okay, and what is your name?
Lamora Phillips.
Well, Lamora, welcome to Marion County. We are happy to have you here. So with that said, this is a proclamation by the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Florida. Whereas the year 2019 marks the 110th anniversary of the General Federation of Women's Clubs, Women's Club of Ocala Incorporated, and the month of January is the time during which the Women's Club of Ocala Incorporated first began. And whereas January 8th, 2019 has been designated as the time in which local members will honor the history and achievements of our local club and club members, and whereas we also celebrate the General Federation of Women's Clubs as the largest and oldest international women's service club, and all the volunteer hours and services provided on a local, state, federal, and international level. And whereas the Women's Club in 1939 organized the Little Women Club for girls of high school age for the purpose of encouraging leadership abilities, and they became the first Little Women Juniorettes Club in Florida in 1983-84. And whereas the Women's Club in 1941 sponsored the organization of the Ocala Junior Women's Club, and whereas the General Federation of Women's Clubs, Women's Club of Ocala Incorporated, continues to be dedicated to the promotion of the advancements of the community and the enlightenments of its members. Now, therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Marion County, Florida, by virtue of the authority vested in us, do hereby proclaim the month of January 2019 as General Federation of Women's Clubs, Women's Club of Ocala Incorporated month. Duly proclaimed this 18th day of December 2018, signed by all 5 county commissioners and attested to by David Elsterman, clerk of the court. And our president, Miss Palmer, we're going to give that to you. And, you know, I just have to say, what a fitting thing for us to be honoring at this time of the year. You're a service club. You get out there, you get involved in the community, you see where there are needs, and you try to take care of those needs. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to thank you for the work that you do. And I'm going to turn this over to you so that you can say a little bit about what's going on. And if you don't want to talk, then you can hand it to Judy.
Well, yes. I'm very grateful on behalf of the Women's Club of Ocala. I want to say thank you for this proclamation. We're very honored to serve Ocala. I've been with the club for maybe 17 years, and I'm very happy to be part of a club that's been around for nearly 110 years. We help the schools underserved schools. We sponsor some after-school programs, interfaith, literacy projects, and we are always there to help whenever we're needed. And the fellowship among women, it's really a great thing to do as well. Thank you very much.
No, I think Sonia did a lovely job of expressing our appreciation and our community involvement.
All right, thank you, ladies.
All right, don't go anywhere. Remember those great pictures? Let's get our chair over here as well, and there we go. All right.
Do whatever Mr. Jeff says.
Yeah, we have to.
Use it loud. Make sure we try to make it.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
This is, turn it on? Okay, they want it on. Is that gonna mess up your picture though?
Yeah.
It'll be okay, you can have the picture. I'm just trying to get everyone in one line here. I have you stand over here by Commissioner Bryant. Just take a step back there.
Okay.
Just make some space.
There we go. I'm tall, so I stick up. I got my tall shoes on. You know what? Let me change you right here, please. There we go.
Okay, everyone take one step to the left.
Yep.
Or you just couldn't.
Of course not.
3, 2, 1.
Thank you.
Well, just a little bit, 46. A little bit.
Celebration, we will. Thank you.
You'll figure it out so quick.
I was gonna say.
There's like 36th Avenue now. You got
Merry
to figure it
Christmas.
out. There was a Joy Avenue, 25th Avenue, I think. So yeah, they did that. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas. You got it too fancy. It's gonna change. What happens when you waste taxpayer money on fancy things? You can't use them. Here, this is how it is. Pull the chair.
Okay. We'll now go into general public items, and we do have one person who has signed up to speak this morning who was unable to be with us due to another conflicting appointment. So Patricia Reed will be with us at another time. Also, we've had someone withdraw. Miss Brianne Wilson will not be with us this morning, so we'll go right next to Kathy Wyckoff. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
Or Miss Wyckoff, excuse
Thank
me.
you. You can call me Kathy. I'm very casual. You guys probably noticed that I'm not a formal person. Well, you guys look awesome. Has my time started? Guess not yet. Okay, anyway. 'Tis the season to be merry and bright, yet I am bringing you salt and light. So yes, it's time for the AHA report, Awareness, Honesty, Action. And I was going to mention that in the last 2 weeks, the paper, it's not been good. The news cycle has been very negative. We've had a lot of deaths from domestic violence, as well as the chief came out with how many people have died of overdoses. So things are much, much worse. And we need treatment beds, which is what I want to mention this morning, because as I've pointed out to you all before, we have a lot of beds. And the lights aren't on in some of the sections in pods at the jail. But apparently we're going to have a whole new section opened up, a whole new pod. B pod will be opened, from what I hear, in 2019. They're already getting it ready for you guys, for you to help me suggest that we put treatment in there. Because we are getting people out of jail and we're having to find them beds. And I'm having to tell parents no, because I can't find them. They'll take them with an open case. So we need your help. We need your help with that. The sheriff needs to help us with this so we can turn the tide and help these families with their children who are dying. I also wanted to mention that I met with the chair about the Public Safety Coordinating Council, something that I've been, of course, a big advocate for quite some time. And while it's still not a reality, obviously it's in action. And she told me that Commissioner Bryant will be chairing that, and I guess until there's a vote, but it's still just moving along very, very slowly. I hope we can speed that up, and it'll be a vibrant committee. And I also wanted to mention about, we lost the Second Chance grant, and I am still hoping that you guys are going to help make up that money. I know I asked for money to be made up for that in the last grant cycle, but of course in 2019, that'll be coming along. So I got y'all a copy of the Chief's opiate epidemic only gets worse. And I got your picture. I also gave you another copy of the email I sent you. Obviously, I was upset. You know I get upset. So basically, on some of those, and in there I mentioned how many people have to die. And of course, we've had a lot of deaths since September, a lot of deaths. Then I sent you also a little something about Jesus and Justice. I know it's baby Jesus. Oh, I got a yellow light. And real quickly, I'm going to try to read this. I might not get through it before I get a red light. It says, the AHA Project Vision and Goals 2019. The dream come true would be to see Marion County and its leaders truly embrace the God idea that the heart of a city and a measure of its compassion is how it treats its weakest and most vulnerable citizens. To see this city and this county promote and support A, justice that restores. The Bible clearly teaches that God is outraged by injustice and calls upon his people to take action and address it. Justice that responds. The Bible tells us to follow the laws of the land and do what is right. But it clearly calls us not to avoid wrongdoing, but to advocate for justice, to speak up against injustice, and to visit prisoners. We are called to practice a justice that responds. A justice that listens. To advocate for criminal justice means to be a voice for those who are not affected by crime and incarceration, including victims who are often feel ignored. But before we can speak or know how to respond, we must learn to listen to and really hear those who are harmed by crime and what they are really saying. Justice that fits. The criminal justice system has gotten off track. We can bring about change through advocacy. God cares about justice and fairness in our institutions. We shouldn't turn a blind eye to over-incarceration and unfair sentencing. We need to speak up to make sure the punishment fits the crime, and the alternatives to incarceration are pursued when appropriate. Justice that transforms. Jails and prisons need not be warehouses for human beings. Correctional facilities can be places that bring about positive change and enable to live as good neighbors and good citizens rather than entrenching their criminal mindset and behavior. When God's people take persistent, courageous action to bring about change, jails and prisons can become places of restoration and renewal. Justice that redeems. It's one thing to tell people about a new life on a spiritual level, but what about on a community level? Once someone makes amends for their past wrongdoing and repented, are we willing to extend a hand in practical ways? Are we, who have been given a second chance, willing to give opportunities to others who only want to reach their full potential? Will you join the vision to see God's dream come true? Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you for being with us today, Ms. Wyckoff, and Merry Christmas to you and yours as well.
Thank you. And I'll just drop off your copies. You can read them. I have a lot of more stuff for you to read. I hope you're reading all this stuff.
Thank you for helping educate us.
Thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Robert Dreyfus. Is Mr. Dreyfus with us this morning?
Can I take his place? I'm going to read off what he gave me to.
Okay. You will have an opportunity. Okay, very good. We'll next move to Karen Gopert.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Karen Gopert's mother has suffered a stroke, and unfortunately, she will not be with us this morning.
Thank you for sharing that. Our best to her and her family during this time. Dale Kreutzer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Merry Christmas to everyone, too. My name is Dale Kreutzer. I live at 259 Marion Oaks Lane, Ocala, Florida. I am one of the administrators of Marion County Lost and Found Pets and Marion County Lost and Found Pets of Ocala. I'm here again to speak to you about passing an ordinance of no retail storefront sales of puppies and kittens in Marion County. I know you said you heard us, several of us speak at the last meeting, but we still have the problem here with the puppy mills and backyard breeding that still is going to affect our no-kill shelter. A no-kill shelter will not be successful unless you put an ordinance like other counties have done. We all need to do this in order for it to be working in Central Florida. Last week, our Marion County Humane Society took in 27 animals from one breeder. They said she is a breeder. This was a small operation. They were mostly Chihuahuas and a couple of Yorkies. They were scared to death and now are in the process of being trained so they can get homes. And by that I mean trained by being touched, by being out of cages, let their feet on the floor, and just being loved. Commissioners, good breeders do not sell their puppies in stores. Why do people go to stores to buy a dog? One reason is impulse. They were out, saw a sign, which we have all known there to be in Marion County, looked in a store and fell in love with a cute puppy. A lot of short-lived love from what I've experienced on our site. The next show up free on rehoming sites, social media, Craigslist, Ocala for sale, or a shelter. Another reason for buying in stores is convenience, because the buyer does not want to do the work on looking for a good breeder. They go to the store and buy, most likely, a puppy mill puppy, and we know we have many of them here in Marion County. What happens to those sirs and dames when they can no longer breed? They probably will be abandoned or shown up at a shelter. After the holidays after the holiday is done, the rehoming site will have a lot of puppies not wanted. They will definitely show up at your shelter. What I would like to know today is, what is our live release rate and how many have died in our cages in the shelter itself? And by that I mean not euthanized, I mean just dying because we don't want to euthanize them because our numbers are going to be affected by that. And also, we still have the stray dog population problem in this county. The stray dogs will probably increase again because of the holiday and people buying pets. That really is just a little novelty. That's really all I have to say, but I sure hope that you do consider putting in the no sale, because there's no difference of selling at a flea market or selling in a store. They're both selling puppies, and they're both allowing that to go on here in Marion County and not in other counties in Central Florida.
Thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kara and Ahern.
Good morning, everyone. Karen Armin, 2234 Northeast 6th Place, Ocala, Florida. Jeff, thank you so much for your attention all last week, even with everything on your plate. We appreciate it. I think basically you were the only one that answered emails, so maybe this has all been handed to you. Sorry about that.
Actually, no, I suggested I would do
anyway,
it. So
I know last week we gave you guys a little booklet, and maybe you didn't understand what we were trying to say. Thank you. What that meant is, meet Joseph, rescued from a puppy mill. You couldn't tell the front from the back. His matted fur covered in urine and feces, no human contact, left in a cage to produce money. Joseph lost his foot. It rotted off in his cage. No one even noticed. Stop the puppy mills, please, for others just like Joseph. This is how we found Joseph. This is people shaving him, trying to save him, just trying to get to the dog part of the mess. This is when we noticed, oh, there's a foot not there now. It's really not there now. As far as the puppy mills in Florida, if you look at the Panhandle, where they do have the ordinance in place correctly, there are no puppy mills, none. Almost all the way down to here, and then they start bouncing up here and there. Marion, we're doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. We've got to make sure that the counties that have been closed off, like Lake County, Orange County is getting ready to, and those other counties, they're going to move right here, honey, and they're going to fill our shelters. So you need to take that into consideration. The other thing is, animals bought at a storefront is not your friend. I bred Himalayan cats, okay? People came to my house, they met the parents, they saw the animals, they saw all of my animals, they were never caged. And then I learned about this. So 25 years ago, I stopped producing more animals and started saving animals, okay? Because I love them is why I was producing them, not for the money like some other people. So I only had a few in my house. I didn't have like I have in a rescue where I'm trying to save them. I never imagined I would be buried in the golden years of my life where I haven't had a vacation in 10 years, you know? And I love your sweater, Carl. Come back, stay with us, keep them eyes open. The other thing is, when Maddie's Fund came, I have the thing here that they gave to all of you guys, and I know it was long, and you probably didn't have time to really read it, but they have this thing in place called the Fear-Free philosophy, and this is for our shelter animals. And if this is for our shelter animals, it absolutely should stand for any animal being bred. So, the 5 free freedoms: freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, injury, and disease, freedom to express normal and natural behavior, freedom from fear and distress. We have to provide that in our county shelter. This is what Maddie is telling you to do. And as far as the fundraising, I know I said I was coming for fundraising. I really do. I am here to help you guys do that as well. Until you address these problems at our shelter, the grants will not happen for us. Because what they do, the grants are a gift to you for making the steps in the right direction. If you don't make those steps, the grants will not happen. I'm happy to write for the grants. I'm happy to look up for every grant that we could possibly get. I mean, my feet are in, like, knee deep, okay? But you guys got to do your part. And we're not saying that every breeder is a puppy mill. We're not saying that. But storefront, store-sold animals are puppy mills. And what they do is certain people breed certain ones, and then they just meet mid-state, and then they trade off. Because, well, I don't have shepherds, but I have people wanting shepherds. And I don't have corgis, but I have people wanting corgis. And I don't have poodles, but, and they trade. And that's how you walk in the store, and they have every variety that you want. Because they have them from breeders all over. They don't know any background on these animals. And the people that bought these animals, they come home with a $6,000 bill and an empty leash because they died.
Thank you very much, Ms. Arman.
Thank you.
Do we have Kim Pruitt with us today?
We do.
Great.
Good morning and Merry Christmas. Commissioners, my name is Kim Pruitt and I live at 9315 Southwest 105th Street here in Ocala. In the last quarter of this year, or in the first quarter of this year, UF did a study on 15 surrounding counties and their tax-funded animal shelter. Out of those 15, 14 of them had put in place provisions and ordinances to reduce the amount of unwanted pets coming into their shelter, thus reducing the euthanasia rate. Only one had not made any changes or put in any place any ordinances to reduce their youth rate, and that was Marion County. In fact, we had one of the highest youth rates in the state. We were killing almost 55% of all animals that walked through the front door. That is not only unheard of, but it is inhumane. There was a public uproar, and a promise was made by the commissioners to make changes to reduce this youth rate. In fact, you told the Ocala Star-Banner you were going no-kill. To go no-kill, you have to put in place ordinances to reduce the amount of unwanted pets coming into the shelter. This did not happen in Marion. Instead, your idea of going no-kill was to stop taking owner surrender and stray animals. Thus, then you called yourselves no-kill. I believe it is not only illegal for a tax-funded shelter to refuse a stray animal, but folks, it is dangerous. Someone's going to get hurt, and it's going to land squarely on your shoulders. Also, by refusing to take in the stray animals, you have now just created a much larger problem of unwanted pets. Now they're out there breeding like crazy. We see this on the Marion County Facebook pages more than ever. More and more pregnant strays are showing up. The Humane Society is at capacity, as is all the rescues within probably a 100-mile radius because of this. Here we are almost a year later, and still these provisions and ordinance have not been put in place, and the youth rate is starting to hike back up again. The stray population is out of control, and you do nothing. We, your constituents, are looking square in the eye, and asking you why. Why? None of these ordinances require any land use change, etc. So we want to know, why are you stalling? Why is this not being done? Like the UF study revealed, they are getting it done in every other county, but not Marion. And we want to know why. And we're not going away.
Thank you for being with us this morning. A lot of what you said is not accurate, but I would ask Jim Sweet to get with you and help educate you on what we have done. James Simpson, welcome.
Sampson.
James Sampson, 2341 Southeast 186 Terrace here in Marion County. I brought along someone with me. He's going to tell you who he is.
My name is Antonio Vargas. My address is 50 Banyan Course, Apartment C. Yeah, my name is Antonio Vargas. I'm a former 2016 United States Olympian. I'm a current professional fighter right now. I'm undefeated. And my last fight, I just fought for a championship belt, and I won. And I'm hoping to, fight and defend my title here in Marion County. This is my family's at, my wife, my baby girl, my family. So that's what we're looking to do, is hopefully defend my title here in Marion County.
Thank you, Mr. Vargas. Did you give your address for the record?
He did.
Yes. Thank you. I'm sorry, there was some other outside influences here. Okay. Mr.
Also,
Sampson?
On the package I gave you, there's a fighter at the back end. His name is Gadwin Arosa. He just won a title too. Different weight class, had to go to Philadelphia to win it. It's in Marion County. We got the belts. We don't want to go anywhere else. I talked with Carl on some ideas. So what I'd like to do is have a workshop in the middle of January on how we can take the small sales arena where they sell chickens, and I try to make it look like Vegas and make it a little bit better. And then as we do these pro shows, the last pro show that I set my ring up with, Lank King, who was a thief, made $40,000, didn't pay the fighters and took off. As we promote these professional fighters, I want to take the gate, which will be controlled by, well, you're a banker, and maybe Hank Whittier. We can start taking some of the profit and then the money that you make at pro fights, and we're paying the fighters. And then when there's $20,000, whatever, I want to put that in a fund to do some improvements to the big arena. And that's where he would like to defend his world title. and Gadwin Rosa. Now, I spoke to Kathy Bryant, and I spoke to a couple other people, and I talked about this guy. She wanted to have him arrested, Mark Wahlberg, if he ever showed up. I don't know what kind of interrogation techniques she was going to use, but anyways, I told Matt Dunn, and I told that this guy is going to be in a movie about my friend Mickey Ward. Here's a contract for Mickey to come and see us. He was going to come for 2 round-trip tickets, and it's a big St. Pat weekend, and he was going to come out here for $1,500. The movie won 2 Oscars. Christian Bale won for Best Supporting Actor, and Melissa Leo won. You have a copy of the first show I ever promoted in my life as a ham and egger, and I didn't know anybody in Manchester other than the mayor. And 2,700 people showed up for an amateur fight. We've got guys, I never in a million years, 10 years ago in 2008, when I wrote a letter to the only person I knew in politics, and her name was Heather Dannenhauer. I met her at the fire station I built out in China. What's the furthest one out? Salt Springs. And she came out, and she was cute, so I picked her up, and she's like, put me down, what's the matter with you? And then she got married, and we're going on a honeymoon to Italy, so I gave her Andrea Bocelli tape, and she was very sweet. I think the problem with you people happened when I met Kathy Bryant, and she made the mistake of inviting me in here to talk to you. I never dreamt we would have kids like this young man here who has a wife who's a boxer, and a beautiful little baby that live here, and another kid, Gadwin Rosa, who's in a weight class above him, that win belts in Philadelphia, and he fought in Puerto Rico, a guy with 40 fights. And these kids are unbelievable, and they're going to be world champions. So I want to put a few shows on in the small arena, and then I want to have a workshop to tell you how we can, without costing the county a dime, make the big arena a little bit more receptive to ESPN and stuff. I've already solved all the problems. I got to meet Jared Goodspeed, and he's like Andy, very, very sharp. And Munir, I dropped some information. Say that again?
You met Jared?
Yes.
Sorry.
Well, he understands that, I'm not trying to build a Veterans Memorial Arena where I put a $250,000 show on up there with my ring. We just want to make it so that it's a little bit better, and that's a workshop. So if I could get a workshop scheduled with Jared and with Munir, and I want to thank Guy Minter, our attorney, who reviewed the application for the professional boxing license that my son Jesse will be applying for. He reviewed it, looked like there were no loopholes there, right? Just a standard form. And that's why I came to talk with you people today. I want to thank you very much. If in the middle of January we can have, you can let me know whatever time it is, I'll be able to meet with you, and we can talk about a couple of things we need in the little arena to put on the shows to make the money to improve the big arena. And,
Mr. Sampson, what I would like to suggest is that you and Mr. Goodspeed and Jim Couillard meet in advance to iron out all of those details before we commit to a workshop at this point.
All right.
Thank you. And he'll get with you and get something scheduled.
Right, and it's pretty easy to reach me, and I'm just very proud of these guys. I'm so proud of Marion County. I mean, I've got 3 kids that were born in this county, and you've made them superstars.
Well, we appreciate what you do for the county as well, and all of the young people with your many programs on the to stop bullying and to promote such young talent as you have with you today.
And the veterans. And
the veterans, of course. So thank you again, and many blessings and all the best to you, Mr. Vargas.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Christmas.
Okay, do we have anyone else in the audience who would like to speak this morning? If so, please come forward and give your name and address. You will have 2 minutes for public comment. Mr. Nectel, thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning, you all. Roger Nectel, 12727 Southeast 97th Terrace in beautiful Summerfield. I was going to talk about something else, but what Dr. Drivers wanted to speak about is more important. So I wrote down the best I could of what he said. The most important issues are, in Dr. Dreyfus's feeling and mine, it is that something really important has to be straightened out in this country. There's a struggle for the hearts and minds of our children, and the schools are not bringing that to them. A lot of our kids never know about God. Never do parents teach their kids properly. And he also had a quote, and I hope I get this right. Martin Luther stated that there is nothing which will more surely earn hell for a mother or father than not properly training their children. I don't remember anything much about it other than that. He had a whole thing in particular about school taxes and where the money is going, or nobody knows where it's going. But whatever time's left, I want to tell you about my life. My wife and I got married. We had to have our parents sign for us. We weren't keyed at all. I didn't know that God had given me a woman who was very religious and became an instructor, a religious instructor right away. We had a child at about 2 years old. I was at work. I was working with a guy that was twice my age, and he was not married, never had a child. He said to me, Roger, you got to make a decision. You're going to be a buddy or a parent. I said, Ed Kane, by the way, interesting name. I'm going to be both. I realized as time went on, what he had said to me was very important. I had an obligation to bring our children up with respect, with honor, and understanding that they are responsible for themselves. Whether it's a 2-year-old or a 20-year-old, whatever they do, they're responsible. They have to know it before it happens. And thank God I had a woman who believed in teaching the kid the Bible. I mean, give you an example. I just came out of the hospital last night.
Thank you, Mr. Nick.
I'm still going to finish even if you have me arrested. And I learned something yesterday at the hospital. My wife is going to see her doctor tomorrow, and thank God for that. At least 100 times God, through somebody, has given me a blessing. And you guys have a blessing too. God bless you all and have a Merry Christmas.
Mr. Nectel, we're glad to see you in good health this morning.
Okay,
and Merry Christmas to you as well. Linda Daniels had filled out a speaking form. Ms. Daniels, my apologies for overlooking you.
Hi, I'm Linda Daniels. I live at 1303 Estrelita Way in the Villages. Merry Christmas. Thank you for letting me come and talk with you once again. I just want to say that we're not here to antagonize anyone. We're not here to point fingers. We are here to work with you together to solve the problems of puppy mills and overcrowding of our shelters. We represent many, many citizens, and we are the voice of those who cannot speak for themselves. You commissioners have a heavy burden of listening to and considering so many concerns of citizens and trying to solve some very difficult problems. We thank you for your service, and please be aware we are here to work with you and for the animals. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, Ms. Daniels. Is there anyone else in the public who would like to speak this morning? That being said, then we'll close public comment.
Oh.
Once you've spoken, you can't return. We'll next move to item number 3 to adopt 5 sets of minutes.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bryant, second by Commissioner Moore. I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Next, we'll move to our constitutional officers and governmental agencies. Number 4, Mr. Woods has a request.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Bryant. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously. Mr. Clerk of the Court.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning and Merry Christmas to everybody. Item 5A1 and 7 is a listing of the budget amendments on the agenda for approval.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bryant, second by Commissioner Moore. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have no public hearings this morning. We'll next move to our consent. And give me 1 second. I'll start with Commissioner Gold. Do you have anything to pull?
Nope.
Commissioner Bryant?
Nope.
Commissioner Zalek?
Yeah, I just want to have a discussion real quick on 7H1.
7H1. Commissioner Moore?
Well, I was going to pull 2 items for Amanda, but it inadvertently affect Tracy, so I'll leave them on there, so I have nothing.
Okay, very good. Can I get a motion to accept the consent?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
That will be with the exception of 7H1. Any further discussion? We have a motion by Commissioner Zalek and a second by Commissioner Bryant. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. And Commissioner Zalek.
So if you guys were okay, where's Jim? Did he leave?
7H1.
Yeah. So on the parks fees, commissioners, there was just a few things at the Forest Community Center. We have the large meeting room, and you have to rent those today by the day. My thought was, especially for the larger room, that there is opportunity there to be able to rent those for a morning, an afternoon, or a dinner. We might be able to have more events there and be able to even better utilize some of these things. So I would like over the next, by the next time this comes back to us, probably next year, is for at least us to have an option to look at that, see what the scheduling would be like. And then I've also talked with Jim. One of the things that I think is an issue, as myself and other people have even rented some of these cabins and some of these things, is that they, instead of doing it like a hotel where you get charged when you either check in or 48 hours before you get there, and some of these deposits stuff, you know, if you make the reservation, you're getting charged for this stuff months and months ahead, right? Some of this stuff, if you want to book it, especially on a busy time, you may be paying for it a year in advance or 6 months in advance, or, you know, whatever it is. I think that's kind of unreasonable, right? To hold those deposits, to hold those things. So I don't know how. I've challenged them to come back to us with a different way of doing it, so that our folks are getting charged, or maybe even have a payment service that's a little bit different, that would allow us to do it more like how you would check into a cabin on Airbnb or Vrbo, or, you know, so just we can be competitive. I don't think we're competitive when we're charging people hundreds of dollars for a deposit and not and having that right on their credit card if they're making that for 6 months or 5 months. I don't think that makes a whole lot of sense. So I wanted to bring that up with you and see if you were in agreement with that and thought that that was the right way to move forward.
Board, do we have anything, or do we need to bring Mr. Couillard down?
No, I mean, you're talking about just the deposit when they make the reservation?
And the whole thing, I believe it all gets charged. But on top of that, deposit as well.
Mr. Couillard, could you join us at the front, please? Maybe help clarify the process and the timeline for charging people when they
Good morning. Jim Couillard, Parks and Recreation Director. So currently, when you reserve one of our overnight facilities, we do take your deposit and the fee all up front.
Right.
So that hits your credit card right away. You might hold that reservation for a month or so, so you're already paying off your credit card, but you still haven't experienced your overnight stay. So I've been talking with Commissioner Zalek about it, coming up with a system that we can use, maybe just hold a deposit fee and then just get closer to the time of your reservation to go ahead and hit it on your credit card, or however that's arranged. Our hands are tied a little bit with our online registration software that we use, ActiveNet. It's not our favorite system, and we really have a lot of faith in the ERP system to come to our rescue. It's not user-friendly. It's one of the biggest complaints that we have in our department is people registering for programs or pavilion rentals or whatever. It's a nightmare. It's archaic. There's a lot of better systems out there. We're not going to invest in those now, seeing how we're only another year out in the ERP for our department. But I think we can come up with some type of analog system where we do follow up. We're going to have staff follow up on those rentals.
Yes, Commissioner Bryant.
I mean, have we had conversations with IT on trying to figure out something to bridge the gap while we're waiting for
We
ERP?
could. I know they're extremely busy with this transition, we're already going through a secondary transition, updating our operating management system. The cartograph, that's a patch that we're already having to deal with, so the last thing we need is another patch. I think if we just step back and keep it simple and try to patch it into the ERP, that might be beneficial.
Could you do it could you possibly do your bookings as 2 separate transactions to where you just take the deposit? Because I do believe that you need to go ahead and take a deposit when the reservation is made. I would not be in favor of not doing that. And
well,
then
deposit is fine, but what I'm saying is that there's a damage deposit, which is, you know, on some of these $300 or $400 or $200 or $300. I mean, most of the time, if I ever get charged more than $50 or $100 for
Well,
a
all of that
deposit,
should be done at, if you can do it into two separate transactions, you would take the normal deposit that most people require when you make a reservation for the use of a facility,
Right.
and then have everything else done in another transaction in whatever time frame you deem necessary before check-in.
Can do.
Yeah, I mean.
And that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're trying to get something else done besides the way we're doing it. Because today, you could be putting, you know, it could be $1,000 for the rental for the week or whatever. By the time it all adds up, or multiple cabins, and so yeah, I mean, if you're trying to rent out at one of these facilities,
I would check on two different. I
it's
think
kind of
that
archaic the way we do it.
I would think that maybe having two separate transactions might help.
We'll look into it and follow back
Yeah.
up.
Okay,
So I just wanted to pull it to have that discussion. So by next year, when we come back, we've got a better way.
Next year we'll have ERP. Yeah.
Well, and that's fine. I'm willing to make sure. I mean, I'd love to
That
find a
they
patch from
understand.
now,
Mhm.
but if we can't, I mean, I know next year will be better. And then the other part is just making sure that we had some hourly options out at the Forest Community Center.
Commissioner Gold?
What that's going to add to staff too? Is it going to be staff's responsibility to call them to make sure the second part?
It depends on the system that we set up. If we do one transaction just for the deposit, following back up, whether it's a calendar reminder or something very simple, we can try to work that out. But we'll work with staff up front. They're the ones that have to deal with it.
And Madam Chair?
Yes.
May I ask Jim a quick question? And let's see if he's going to have this information. So Jim, I know that our parks, our usage is up. People enjoy our county parks and our programs. So quick, off the top of your head. Ha.
Which would you like? What ones would you like to know about?
Whichever one you choose to brag about today.
Oof. It's kind of difficult. We're still very happy about everything that we do have going on at KP Hole. Obviously, the summer was a banner year. We had 5,000 less people go through the gate. Revenues were still up 105,000. We've exceeded our overall revenue numbers by over $100,000. And speaking of that, the airport this year, $357,000 over in revenue. So we're doing the right things at the airport.
Very good.
Yep.
Sorry, that's fine.
Is that mostly fuel?
Yes, sir, and leases.
So our understanding is you're going to work for a gap
Yes.
repair at this point in time, and then next year we're going to see a little bit different fee structure for the area out in
Forest Community Center, the hourly rates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Very good.
Can do.
And I just want to have that discussion because as the ERP gets implemented, it's very important that some of those questions are being answered ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
And not like we're trying to go back in there and fix it afterwards.
Yeah.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Can we go ahead and look at that now and make an adjustment to our fee schedule for this coming year? I mean, if it's something that we're going to do.
We'd like to have these fees in place for January 1,
Okay.
but we can take a look at the hourly rates anyway, based on your direction, and we can also take a look at the registration on an administrative level. I don't think we really need, we just need to update the board as to what we're doing.
If you want us, we don't have to wait a year to bring it back.
Right, that's what I'm
We'll
saying.
bring it
Just
back.
amend this fee schedule when you can work that out.
Sure.
And we'll bring it
Do
back
that right
to you
away.
as soon as it's ready.
Yeah, I wanted Jim to have a little bit of time to make sure we processed, that we looked at what our calendar year looked like, talked to some of our clients, just make sure we did it right, well. So if he needs a couple months to do that, he can do, and then on top of that, he can kind of bring that back. He can do all that administratively himself.
Absolutely.
So.
Very good.
All right. Thank you very much.
So with that direction, do
I'll move for approval.
Second.
We've got a motion by Commissioner Zalett, second by Commissioner Bryant, with those changes and those amendments to 7H1. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, and thank you, Jim. And Mr. Attorney, I'm sorry we don't have anything from you today, but we wish you a Merry Christmas. We'll see you this afternoon. There'll be plenty to discuss then.
You'll have plenty to do later.
Indeed. Mr. Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, too. The only item I have, give you an update from HR on empowering Marion for success.
Very good. Morning, Ms. Tart.
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Tart, Human Resources Director. I am happy to present to you all an update on the human resources aspects of the Empowering Marion for Success Administrative Strategic Plan. In this plan, the HR department has 27 items. 20 of those items are in the staff development section, and 7 are within the work environment section. I am pleased to let you know that 22 of the items have been implemented and have already led to positive changes within our organization. One of the biggest issues within this plan that we knew we were going to have to address early on was compensation. In 2018, the Florida Public Human Resources Association released a salary survey that was used by administration and human resources to determine a number of jobs across our organization that needed to be addressed. Through the budgeting process and reorganizations, the board approved salary increases in the following departments: Office of the County Engineer, Utilities, staff assistants across the county, Human Resources, Information Technology, Building, Procurement, Solid Waste, and the Tourist Development Department. In addition to these changes made from the salary survey, we've also been able to implement several competency matrices across the organization. Competency matrices allow employees to move up within their current position as they become more skilled and more educated. The following departments have had matrices added: the Office of the County Engineer, Community Services, Utilities, Fleet Management, Building Safety, Information Technology, Fire Rescue, Gross Services, and Public Safety Communications. In addition to these things, loaded cost summaries have been provided to employees as well in order to help further explain to employees their benefits and their total compensation packages. We also had our first year of our merit increase program. The merit increase program allows employees to be compensated for their performance through the evaluation system with their supervisor. We are now entering into our second year of the program and is continuing to improve. The employee newsletter Empowering Marion was introduced in 2017 and has been sent out on a monthly basis. This newsletter encompasses important communications as well as employee and department recognitions. Employees are given the opportunity to ask questions of the county administrator and suggest concerns or suggestions anonymously. When this plan started, we had not done a county-wide employee survey in quite some time. Our first survey was sent out in 2016. We now have 3 years of data from our employees, and I am happy to say that the results show an overall improvement in all categories from year to year. Commissioners, this morning you were all sent the results of the survey from this year, as well as the data showing the changes from 2016, 17, and 18. A few meetings ago, you all approved a contract for us to move forward with the implementation of Franklin Covey's 4 Disciplines of Execution software. And this implementation will start in 4 departments: the Office of the County Engineer, Parks and Recreation, and the Office of Environmental Services, to include Solid Waste and Utilities. The implementation is set to start in 2019. Moving forward, we still have several exciting priorities within this plan to accomplish, and we look forward to continuing to make Marion County a great place to work, live, and play. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Commissioner Gold?
What can we do with the hiring process to speed up some of our hiring? I know right now that if we've got an employee that's putting in, mostly if it's the entry-level jobs, at times when they're putting in for that it sometimes takes them up to several weeks to a month to even get to the interview process. What can we do with that? Is it us putting too much on there? Do y'all need help, or what is it?
So that's actually something that we've been looking at, and we have pulled some data together to see kind of where some of the holes are. It is something that we are continuously working toward improving. All of our positions are posted for either 2-week time period or open until filled. Those entry-level positions that you're referring to are usually open for a 2-week time period. So we allow that 2-week time period for applicants to apply. And then we do go through and a lot of times there are some tests that are involved. We do our prove-it testing, And that takes another week, and the Prove It tests are sent to all candidates that are qualified for the position, and that gives them a couple of days to do the test and get the results back to us. And then we work on scheduling interviews, getting panels together. So we've pulled the data, and we're looking at where some of the holes are, maybe ways we can be a little more efficient. One of the things that is going to help is the ERP system. I know, we say that about a lot of things, but I really do believe it's going to help. It's going to allow, right now, a lot of manual processes to be done through a workflow, and it's going to be able to, go from human resources to the hiring manager to the department director back to HR in a much quicker process rather than passing papers all around the county.
And Commissioners, why I was asking that is because, like, now if we have an open position for an entry-level job, which is, usually a smaller pay, applicants a lot of times don't think about the benefits of this, and if they have to wait over a long period of time to take the job, they might get offered $15 an hour, where our beginning pay is $10 an hour, but if you're needing a job, you usually take that higher pay. So I was just trying to see what if there's anything we could do to help.
Sure, and it's something we'll continue to look at and try to improve
It's
upon.
like Tom's got a lot with ERP to save everything, doesn't he?
Tom's going to be the superhero this year.
Oh, this may design me a new cat jacket for next year.
Commissioner, I did talk to Amanda and Bobby, and we have looked at the data we have so far over the past year or so, and we can see holes in certain places that we can plug and we can fix to expedite the whole process. We understand exactly the situation you explained, and I think that has happened more than once, and we have lost candidates because we were not fast enough.
I think that's really important in the job market that we're in today, that we get something in place and start to address that right away. So I appreciate the fact that you've already started looking at it and you're beginning to work on it immediately.
And my concern with it too is I know that when we as commissioners mention something, a lot of times you have to take that as a priority. So I was just making sure that wasn't something, myself or anybody else was doing that was kind of setting it off. So anything we can help, I would hope that everybody would want to support that so we don't lose talent. So,
thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments or questions for Ms. Tart while she's here today giving her report?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Good job. We've come a long way. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ms. Tart.
And Commissioner Bryant, the question you asked last time, I have Mike McCain and Jeannie. They are reviewing the entire plan and bring back items that are not valid anymore or needs antiquated. They need to be removed. We will bring you an update, hopefully in the near future.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely. Thank you all for what you're working on as well with the Empowering Marion for Success. No committee items, so notation for action, item 11. We have a request to approve for a closed meeting for Tuesday. Actually, I'll just kind of leave that. Do I need to call each out or?
I have the last one on the 29th.
Okay, so that is to schedule a workshop to discuss departmental strategic plans.
Any day but the 29th.
And Commissioner, I'm working with Nadja to bring you a new date.
Okay.
I don't have that information yet.
Okay.
So I'll move 11A and B.
Second.
Thank you. We've got a motion by Commissioner Zalett, second by Commissioner Moore. Any further, and that's for 11A and 11B. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
Move to table 11C.
Second.
We got a motion by Commissioner Zalek, second by Commissioner Moore to table 11C. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I should get the date by the 2 o'clock.
Okay, very good. So we may have later today then.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Commissioner.
Absolutely. All in favor of the table for 11C?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Okay, Commissioner items. Commissioner Gold, would you like to start us off this morning?
Sure, because mine's going to be long today. So I actually start off my comments. I'll have an attorney question. So, Mr. Minner, I forgot to ask you this yesterday. I started on the last meeting to ask about the, that jacket's bright, isn't it? I get to look up at that thing. I meant to ask at the last question, or at the last meeting we had, with the ordinance, I know it's nothing that, I think some people think that we can just change these ordinances, or even when we're talking about the sales ordinance, retail sales, we just can't change those at a meeting, can we?
Well, you certainly couldn't change it today. I mean,
Right.
there's a process for having the draft ordinance prepared, advertising that ordinance for a public hearing, and then having a public hearing at a future date.
And I know, and I'll answer a couple of the questions that are out there. I know I've been gathering, I'm sure the other commissioners have been gathering all the information. I'm passing it on to Dana, our staff attorney, and she's working it, because when I asked about it a couple weeks ago, I got a lot of emails, but about 5 different people, and there was a lot of good suggestions, and all that's been passed on to Dana, and she's trying to compile all of it. Plus, I got some today, and that's the bad part about it, is I'm getting the information just staggered out. So up till this morning, so I'm passing it on, and maybe she can present it at some point so we can all look at it or have one-on-ones, whatever the board, it depends on what the board wants with that, but just letting you know that that's what I've been working on. So it is, but it's nothing that we could do today, because there's nothing drafted to even do. And
No,
it's
she has been working on it.
I know she has. She's caught me this morning too, so it was good. But that's all I had, and then I got quite a couple other things. So I want to thank Commissioner Stone first. You've helped me and my wife a lot, from the discovery of her cancer that came up, the surgery, and now the oncoming treatment. I don't think we would have got through that without you, and to all the employees who called. Loretta paged and called a bunch, and everybody else who's called. It's been wonderful. Also, a lot of people don't know the employees who donated. My dad passed away in July, and the employees who donated for the granite stone or granite bricks will be put in the Veterans Park. Thank you. I mean, that means a lot to me and the family. Their place now, I'm going to try to get with Jeffrey in time where we can go out there that's convenient for everybody and kind of do a little unveiling of that. He and my mom are slated to be interned in Arlington, and because of his being a double Purple Heart recipient, some other service that he did during World War II in Korea. So he does qualify for Arlington. We're going next week to check on some property we have and make contact with a friend of mine who's going to get that pushed ahead. So hopefully that'll be done soon. So that meant a lot. So thank you very much on that. 2018, it's been a rough year for me personally, but we also got to realize too that we had 2 commissioners who were reelected, and they went through a pretty rough election season, and I'm getting ready to announce my reelection coming up soon for commissioner again, and I just hope that I can handle it with the professionalism and grace that y'all did, because that was I've been in the county my entire life, and working for a sheriff's office, it's always politics, and this was the worst I ever seen with direct personal attacks. So the way y'all handled it was great. I hope I can do the same with that. Last thing, Mr. Minner, I already talked to you yesterday about that the judge told me how much time you put in, and that was all your personal time towards that for the canvassing board when I did there, that was a lot of time that you had to do, mostly with the extra votes, but thank you. Oh, and last, I forgot, nobody else knows about this here. Monir, I had to thank you, and I thought what better way was to get you your own personal cat tie.
Oh.
It's not quite as flashy as mine, but there you go. So that is your personal cat tie that you can have now.
So you did find one.
Thank you for all you do. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Gold, and our thoughts and prayers will continue to be with you and your family during this time.
Thank you.
You have a lot of support and a lot of love from your county family.
I sure do.
Commissioner Bryant.
Wow, how do I follow all that?
A cat suit for Monier.
No, you know, this is our last official meeting of the year, and this is always, I think for everyone, this time of year is always a great time to reflect on where we've been, where we're going, where we want to go, and, you know, to sit here and reflect on, especially going through this campaign season, 8 years ago, where we were as a county, and to be where we are now. You know, you can't say it enough. That doesn't happen without the people behind the scenes, and that's our county employees. There's a lot of you that have stuck through thick and thin, and you make our organization a great organization, and an organization that I'm proud to be a part of. So, you know, we've seen some pretty monumental changes, and we've got a great team in place, and I look forward to what 2019 brings. I know it's going to be great, and I wish you all just hopefully some downtime with your families and with those people who mean the most to you. This is the time to really this is the time to spend with them and really reflect on how blessed we truly are. If you look at what goes on in this world around us, there are some crazy things, and we're blessed to be here, and we're blessed to have what we have. And so just ask that you all remember that. And then on a business level, I would like to ask permission from the board to travel on behalf of the board to Washington, D.C. on January the 8th. I've gotten an invite to go to the Sunshine Ball from Governor, Senate-elect Scott, and First Lady Ann Scott. And so should I decide to do that, would like to have permission from the board to do that as well.
So moved, or motion to consider, I guess.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Gold to consider Commissioner Bryant's travel to Washington, D.C. for January the 8th. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. And now we...
Move for approval.
Thank you.
We have to take public
Get
comment.
public comment first.
Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak to this item? Public comment will close.
Move for approval.
Second.
We've got a motion to approve by Commissioner Zalek, second by Commissioner Moore. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion carries unanimously, and thank you for representing Marion County. We appreciate your going on such a cold, wintry day.
I haven't
I'm sure.
said yes yet.
I'm encouraging you to go on our behalf.
We all know how much I love to fly and go into the cold.
Well, you can drive on the ice.
We have a lot of big requests, and it's going to be some heavy lifting needing as we look at some things next year from our federal partners, so thank you.
Okay. And anyway, just again, Merry Christmas, everyone, and I look forward to the coming year.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Bryant, and for your consideration. Commissioner Zalek.
Man, so much stuff happened this year. So, again, as the other commissioner said, we've been really blessed. And first, I want to just thank my family, my wife, and my mom and dad, and just all those that support you in those times, especially during the campaign seasons of life when all hands are on deck. And I want to thank the county team for continuing just to show outstanding service. This year we've dealt with everything from cutting the grass to picking up the litter, and Tracy and her team, and thanks to the judges, and I mean everybody's team work together made those things happen. We're continuing to plan for an incredible year. What we're doing with the CRA in Silver Springs, the aquatic park, the World Equestrian Center. I mean, Marion County's got so much opportunity. I think that's the scariest part, is that you have to pick the things that are the best, and you can't work on all the things that are just good, right? Our staff struggles with that probably on a daily basis. There's lots of great projects out there, lots of great things out there, but you've got to pick the best things and put them on your plate and actually get them done. So Monier is a perfect example of making that happen. We are grateful and honored to have the team we do in Monier and Guy. They exceed expectations on a regular basis, and I know drive our team and our staff to become better and better and better. And we are on that path from good to great because of your leadership. So we really appreciate that. And we couldn't do it without David, you and your team, the clerk, and the financial guidance that you continue to give us. It's such an important part that we have all of those things working together. And And quite frankly, we go to meetings across the state and we realize that so many political entities, whether that's the county commission and the clerk or the tax collector, and they're always in some kind of brawl over something. And we don't have that here. We don't have that kind of animosity towards each other, especially from a financial standpoint. So, Mr. Clerk, I thank you for not ever allowing that to become something, a disagreement to become something that we have to fight over, that we were always able to settle those things amicably, and really appreciate your leadership and all of that.
Thank you.
As we move through this next season, I'm excited more than ever for what the opportunities for Marion County to have. Our kids to have better paying jobs when they come back. We have over an 11% raise in annual wages for the families of Marion County. That's huge. When people are moving at that kind of level, it sure puts a lot of pressure on our hiring process, as Amanda well knows. But families of Marion County are doing better. They're getting better paying jobs. We're recruiting the right companies. We're going to have even better opportunities to bring phenomenal company partners that will continue to raise those wages and continue to make life in Marion County even a better place, which is hard to imagine. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to thank you for your leadership already. I know this year is going to be fantastic with you at the helm, and looking forward to all of the great opportunities we have. Everything from continuing to work on our animal ordinance, to continue the transitions we have in solid waste, to making sure that our roads are better and brighter, that our sheriff and public safety have the equipment and we have the people we need to run that stuff to get there in emergencies. I think we've made huge strides in the fire department this year that we were never able to make before. And because we've done that, we've partnered with Denell, and we've partnered in new ways with Bellevue and Ocala. If you think about all the stuff we've done this year, it's pretty amazing that we've been able to work with people that way. And we haven't had, because people pick which way they want to work, right? We either find the ground that we can work on and we can make headway for our community, or we end up in a fight with another political entity. This year, we've had none of those. We've worked with every one of our, whether it's our senator or representative, the other counties surrounding us, the other municipalities in our region, and it's been a great year because Marion County's on the same page, and I hope this year is even better.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Zalek. You covered some really great topics and gave some great accolades to those who deserve it. So, Commissioner Moore.
Well, I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners for making it very difficult to follow them. Anyway, on a serious note, with the animal issues, people don't realize before all of us were on the board, animal control was in a lot, maybe a more precarious position than it currently is. This board has passed the anti-tethering ordinance where, dogs can't be just left unattended on a tether out in the rain and elements. So this board's passed that. We passed Molly's Law unanimously, which is an animal abuse registry, which, by the way, I was out at the Christmas parades promoting it. Thank you to Ocala and Denellen. I apologize to Bellevue. You had rain, and we weren't going to put a beautiful dog out there in the rain, with even a threat of rain. We weren't going to put that on Molly because she's been through so much in life, and she's the reason for the animal abuse registry. But this board voted unanimously for that. We keep on making strides to improve, our animal laws, but the thing is it doesn't happen overnight. Because when I was in the private sector, I used to say, why don't we get this done? I got into the public sector, and I realized it takes so much time to change an ordinance. Commissioner Bryant will remember this because her and I turned back, my first year here, we turned back our salary. Well, to turn back our pay increase, in order to do so, I had to change the ordinance. It took 6 weeks to change one ordinance so I could cut David Elchberman's office a check. And actually, when I was at his window, before I knew I had to do that, I'm sitting there at the window, cut a check to the lady at second floor, and she goes, I'm sorry, I can't take your check. And I thought she was joking, because private sector, you go to your employer, you hand them some money back, and they say thank you. Public sector, you have to change your ordinance. So things don't go as quickly as we would like in the public sector, which on the animal ordinance, it's better than it was, but it's not where it's going to be, because we are going to be a voice for the voiceless, for those who cannot speak for themselves. That's why we ran for office. That's why we're doing what we're doing, is to do what is right no matter what. If people like it, that's great. If they don't like it, that's great too. But we're going to continue on. So don't sit there and get mad at us because it's not perfect yet. Because in this world, it'll never be perfect, but we are trying to get there. And we are, unfortunately, with all the litigation that can happen, it slows it down. Public sector does not move at the rate we wish, because if I could go out, I'd write a law and be done with it, but then every time I've came up with great ideas, Mr. Guy Mentor says unintended consequences. He's perfect at shooting holes in there because, okay, you're intending to do this, but all these other people are going to interpret it 20 different ways than you meant it. So that's where we have to go more methodical, and we have to work with Dana. We have to work with these to make sure that we get it right, so that, because not everybody has good intentions. We can have the best intentions and write a law, and somebody's going to find a loophole and try and go around that. It's where we have to take our time and do it right, so when we do get the law written, it's written right. But we are making progress on our animal laws. So, and I would like to thank this board, because I think this is the most positive we've been on animal. You know, Stan McLean, sorry, because you helped with Molly's law. He was really helped craft Molly's law, but he did too. But I mean, this board's really positive in trying to move forward here. On a second note, History Trail. I'd like to thank Jim Couillard and his entire staff with doing the History Trail, and also with our VCB and TDC with working with the History Trail. Camp Izzard suffered a setback. We had Katie, our parks designer, who is designing our Camp Izzard. It is going forward. The only problem is Katie took a job out of state for a lot more money and closer to her family, which goes back to some of the issues that we're having. So one thing I would recommend just to our board, if we could in the future, when we come up to the 2019, I've already talked to Jim about possibly putting some more staff in there because he's overworked. And then the problem with attracting somebody to replace Katie is they can get jobs elsewhere for a lot more money doing the same thing. And it's like, so we might need to bump up, because everybody in that area, I was kind of doing an informal salary survey. I think we need a formal salary survey, but informal one, they make $10,000, $15,000 a year more starting than we pay our seasoned people. It's like, you know, so we're not competitive there. And it's, you know, with Jim, you know, he knows how to do it, but he's so overloaded, he can't jump in and do Katie's job plus his job, you know. So anyway, giving a plug, and I don't see Jim out there to, hopefully he's listening on the speakers.
He's listening outside.
He's listening outside, but yeah, his staff is overworked, so we need to better fund him when we come up to the 2019 budget. Now we'll get to the holidays. Hanukkah just ended this, you know, between last meeting and this meeting, we already had went down on the square, you know, for the lighting of the menorah, and as I've told everybody, if it's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me. For those who are into the Bible, John 10:22, Jesus celebrated Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah as it's ended. We're entering the Christmas season. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you for remembering the holidays, because holiday means holy day. You know, you can't get away from what these mean, from the significance of them and the reason why we have them. The New Year's coming up, and I'm so thankful for my family. I'm so thankful for this county, for our county employees, because we have a county family here. We sit here and joke around, even the ones that make us get in our steps to go meet with them about issues of county. Because they didn't come over to the commissioner's office, so we had to walk over to their office. But it was beautiful yesterday. Monier's laughing because he was with me. But we have a county family where we are like family. We sit here, we enjoy each other. It's great to be around. Sometimes we even fight with each other like family. But this county family is truly a county family where we love each other and we're here for each other and we got each other's backs. And like when Commissioner Gold's going through this stuff, we've been praying for him. You know, we pray for each other. We truly care about each other. You know, and that's one thing I like about this place is people actually care about each other, and we care about the people that we serve. And, you know, I think that's why every commissioner's up here, is because we actually are trying to make life better for other people. It's not about us. It's not about whatever. It's about improving the lives of people and also improving the lives of our pet population. You know, I saw that kind of, they were giving me the eye. So anyway, but yeah, improving the lives of our pet population, because some of us might like pets better than we like people. Just saying, they're nicer. When you get home from a stressful day, your animal, cat, dog, whatever, if you have a rabbit, they are sweet to you. Sometimes your others may or may not be so sweet. But thank you to everyone. Also, thank you to our first responders who put their lives on the line every day for us, who on Christmas, on these holidays, they're down at the fire stations, they're at the call centers, they're at the hospitals, we're out there making sure we're safe so we can have and celebrate Christmas, so we can celebrate Hanukkah, so we can celebrate Kwanzaa. They're out there doing that and sacrificing their time and their time with their family so we can have time with our family. So thank you to every first responder, everybody that's on duty, and also all our doctors and nurses and everybody else in the county that's going to be working on the holidays. Thank you so much. And lastly, but not leastly, yeah, that doesn't sound right, but anyway, our board. I want to thank this board because I think this board is just phenomenal. I work with a great bunch of people who really care about people. Commissioner Gold has really brought a new thing, because to see Commissioner Zalek in that sweater, Gold has obviously rubbed off on Commissioner Zalek. But thank you for everything you've brought. Thank you for each one in the staff, and thank you for your leadership. Did a phenomenal job at that legislative meeting, by the way. And what was nice was somebody asked, well, how did Commissioner Stone do at legislative? I said, she knocked it out of the park, which is really good. So it's getting noticed. And Commissioner Gold, your leadership is so noticed in this community. What I like is everybody brags on you, because you go to these events, you know, commissioners show up, Commissioner Gold shows up, he doesn't make any fanfare, and people, I've had several times, people are like, well, where's Commissioner Gold? I'm like, right over there. And they're like, oh, he's here, because he doesn't walk in and say, hi, I'm Commissioner Gold. He shows up, he serves. Christmas parade, he's out there directing traffic. I mean, just a phenomenal guy. Y'all need to get to know him, and I guess we can't endorse from the dais, but whenever he announces we'll have stuff out, just check my Facebook. Anyway. Thank you, and thank you to this board, and Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you, Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Roger.
Well, Commissioners, I would like to share something with you, and I'm going to pass it down. As we are beginning to get into the holiday season, I'm going to help remind us that we do have the strategic plan coming up on January the 22nd. We've heard this morning there's going to be a lot of competing priorities for what we want to get accomplished next year. So I had met with Ms. Tart as well as Mr. Boynes and asked that they help us get ready for that, and we begin to get our thoughts together so that when we walk in, we're going to have a 3-hour window, but I'd like us to be very productive during that time. So I've asked that they help us get a little bit of idea on vision statement, mission statements, as well as some notes, some questions actually to help prompt your thoughts. So when you come in and we gather and meet, that we've already got our thoughts pre-positioned and we're ready to really start talking. So what you have before you is just a little summary of vision statement, how to construct one, as well as some examples. Again, there is a worksheet to help you get your thoughts about you before you come in, and actually it would be possibly an idea that you would want to embrace with working with your leadership team to talk about their ideas, so that we get a very good cross-selection on creating a great vision statement. We have our mission, leading public service and genuine dedication to our citizens through professional operations and resources stewardship. That is our mission. I'm asking that we work together to craft a very strong vision statement and to help us look into the future and give staff some really good direction. I think we have a very strong, solid board at this point in time, and we have 2 returning commissioners that are in their 3rd term, so I think that that again gives us really deep foundation to really put our county on a very strong path for the future as well. Also included in this is vision versus mission brainstorming, again just helping get those ideas stoked up. And I'm giving it to you a month in advance, again, so that it won't get lost with the holidays, but it will help you in working perhaps with your leadership team. And they're going to be prepared as well. I think Mr. Boynes is going to give them a little bit of instruction as well.
Yes, Commissioner. I have spoken to all the leaders from the different teams, and they would be prepared to sit with commissioners and the team members and brainstorm and bring back some ideas to consider at the strategic planning workshop.
Thank you. And if you all can have this put together by the 15th, I'm going to ask that you get that over to Ms. Tart in advance so that we can go ahead and pull those duplicated items, maybe have them out on some boards, and again, to really run us through this exercise efficiently and effectively, but also for the good of our county and help us prioritize what we want to do in the budget year and beyond. So I appreciate your participation and preparation on the 22nd. I want to thank the Marion County employees who volunteered to put together our 2018 Christmas parade float. It was such a nice job. We had Christmas trees and we had picnic tables and we had families, not only from the commission but also from the employees. The staff who rode with us and wished those who came out that night a very Merry Christmas. And again, just a great job as always. And so thank you, team, for your time. This was done outside of regular business hours. It was done in the evening. It was done the morning of the Christmas parade. And then they returned on Sunday morning in the rain and helped tear that flatbed down to nothing again. So it's certainly, we want to thank you for your time and effort on that. And also, I want to thank the volunteer Christmas choir that came in this morning and gave us such a beautiful concert, and we hope that you all enjoyed it as much as we do. That was a great gift to us for a beautiful season as well. Lastly, Governor Scott, Senate-elect Governor Scott, he has given a nice Christmas present to the state employees, and Christmas Eve they will be off with pay. We have already chosen to be off with pay as well. But New Year's Eve was not included, and he included New Year's Eve for the state employees. So I'm bringing that for consideration to the board.
Move to consider.
Second.
Okay, do we have, well, first let me call the vote. All in favor to consider?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Do we have anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this item? I'll bring it back to the board.
Motion to approve.
Hey, hold on. There's no employee that wants to talk on this item. Not one of you employees want to talk. Not one?
Can we do the thing where we raise our hand
In support?
All in support?
Hold on, not one of you got, so they don't really want it. They'd rather take your own day, right?
Right.
Right. Sean's
going to get up.
Come on, there needs to be one of y'all that has the courage to talk.
I think.
There we go.
At the invitation of Commissioner
Way to go, Sean.
Zalek.
There we go. Come on, Sean.
All right.
Are you the
Talk for all of them that are too scared to get up.
Wait a minute. Are you the chosen representative
Yeah, you're
for all the
is
employees that
he
are?
chosen for all of you?
Do you
I am.
speak on behalf of all employees sitting here today?
I believe I speak on behalf of all the employees in the auditorium as well as across the county.
I think he said I speak for half of them.
That's what I heard him say too. I didn't hear behalf. I heard half.
For all of them, I support.
We have Sean Herbeck from MSTU department. And yes, Commissioner Bryant.
I was just going to say we need his name and address for the record.
Sean Hubuck, MSTU Assessment Director.
Okay, do you have anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Herbeck?
No, other than I know we really enjoyed performing today, our group, and we feel very blessed to be able to have the opportunity to reach everybody's hearts.
Thank you. Great job, and we appreciate that again. Thank you for the time. I know you all practiced to be so much in harmony this morning as well, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
I thought he was going to say something like it's better for the employees to stay home, protect public safety. You know, he
Remember,
might.
meowie catness.
Catness. All right. All right.
So, Commissioner Bryant?
So on a serious note, I mean, of course, I'm supposing that we're going to support it, but are there any essential services that we do need to keep in place, that we do need to have employees here for, is my question.
This will be
Excellent
treated
question.
like every other holiday commissioner. Essential services will be provided. Some departments will be open with crews enough to take care of business, and we also will have crews on calls.
And I did confirm with you that solid waste will also be open.
All recycling centers will be open. Solid waste, the landfill will be open.
So those folks will get paid holiday pay?
Will get paid holiday pay.
Okay.
Courthouse will be open as well.
Courthouse will be open New Year's Eve.
Well, the judges have indicated they will be there. So I have to staff it, so we'll take care of that.
What are they? Are they having?
First appearances, arraignments. Yeah. At least I know 1 or 2 judges will be there.
That should be more appropriate on New Year's Day.
I'm sure.
Well, no, and so I mean, you won't have full courthouse staff because
No, I'm
every
half
judge
staffing.
will not. You're half staffing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had a discussion with a couple constitutional officers. They all have been asking the same question based on the information we got from the state.
So they're most likely going to take our lead?
They will follow whatever the board decides today.
And this is not going to be an automatic thing that we start doing every year.
It's only for this year because it's on
This
Monday,
year
right?
because of the way that it
Right.
falls.
That is correct. It's Monday with the holiday of the first being on Tuesday.
Correct.
So-
So back to
It
so moved.
happened once before in 2013. We did the same thing.
Right. Okay.
So back to so moved.
Okay. We've got a motion by Commissioner Moore to approve the closing of New Year's Eve with a second by Commissioner Gold. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously.
All employees, you could take Sean Hubbock. We have the courage to stand.
Official spokesman.
Okay, and again, so much has been said to our staff through this board, and I would just like to reiterate that as well. We appreciate you. We appreciate the jobs that you've done this past year. We look forward to a very, I'm going to say, fast-paced 2019 as we look to know what we've accomplished in 2018 and what's on our priorities and what we'll be looking to get accomplished in 2019. So you're going to need that day to rest up. So please take advantage of it. And again, thank you for your service, and we look forward to a very wonderful 2019. So with that, I am going to bring it back to, we've got some notation of record items and no walk-ons, but then I'm going to bring it back to public comment as we get ready to close today. So is there anyone in the public who would like to address the board? Please come forward, and if there's more than one, we do have 2 podiums, so you're welcome to come on down. Give your name and address again for the record.
Karen Arman, 2234 Northeast 6th Place, Ocala, Florida. Thank you for allowing me to speak again. We really did not come here to be enemies, guys. Like, we are in your court, but we need you. Like, we can't do this without you. If we could, we would. We understand that it's not going to happen overnight, but we haven't been asking for it to happen overnight. We're just asking for true consideration of the true ordinance, not an altered ordinance, because that's not going to work for us. And for us to be no-kill, truly no-kill. And I think a lot, too, is that the people don't understand what no-kill really means. It doesn't mean that you don't kill any, because that's impossible. When you have animals coming in that have been hit by cars and mangled, that euthanasia should not count against the shelter, okay? But these animals that are dying in the cages so that you guys don't count the euthanasia rate, That's not working for us, and we know that there were 39. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but there were 39 cats only that died in their cages suffering. They weren't treated. I don't know how many days they were there, but instead of euthanizing them as they should have been because they couldn't breathe, they couldn't eat, they can't smell. If they can't smell food, they can't eat. So they suffer, you know, 4, 5, 6 days, and then they get them and they're dead in the cage and they don't have to count them. We can't go that route. I mean, come on, you guys. I know your hearts are in the right place, but please, 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 for the new year, make this one of your top priorities. I mean, I'll fundraise every day for you, but you got to give me a little something. Okay? Happy New Year.
Thank you. Do you have anyone else in the public who'd like to speak?
Dale Crates at 259 Marion Oaks Lane, Ocala, Florida. Just wanted to mention a couple of things that I was hearing from you guys today. Mr. Zellick, you said that there's going to be more people coming to this county. More people, more animals. That's number one. As for tethering, I'm not sure if it's all in Marion County, but I know you're talking about just the Marion County that you have control over, because I believe the other cities have to pass their own ordinances. Am I correct?
We do in our
Bellevue,
locals.
Micanopy, Denellen, Ocala.
But he's not in Marion.
They're not.
McIntosh.
McIntosh is
Oh, I'm sorry,
Micanopy's in
McIntosh.
Alaska.
I'm sorry.
Micanopy's Latra.
They have to pass their own ordinances, correct?
They have to agree to be part of our ordinance through an interlocal agreement.
Through an
Just like they've
but
done
it
for
has
Molly's
to
Law.
be approved by their,
That's correct.
That is correct.
for an right. Okay, and there was one other thing, is that I know you're saying to be patient about putting in no retail sales. My question is, why was it taken out of the original ordinance? It was in there. It was flea markets and no retail sales. But I'd like to know why you guys decided to take out the retail sales. Because we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be here today asking you to pass an ordinance for no retail sales, when back in May or June, when this was all coming about, it was written in that ordinance, and it was taken out. But I don't understand why you guys took it out, and now you want us to believe that you would put it back in.
Well, I'm not saying, I don't think this board has committed one way or the other.
Exactly.
Ms. Kreutzer, that is correct. And,
That's why we're here.
well, we appreciate you being with us today.
And also, well, I guess that's it.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the public who would like to speak with us today as we close? If there's anyone else, I would ask that you please come down to the second podium. Ms. Daniels?
Linda Daniels, 1303 Estrelita, The Villages, Florida. I just wanted to ensure that each of the commissioners did receive the ordinances that have been passed in 62 other municipalities. I did send that. I know Mr. Gold got it. I'm hoping the rest of you did, because the wording would be very helpful to your attorneys to see what they have been able to do and how they've been able to do it. I think it could really shorten up that process very much. And I'd also like to ask, were you able to read the folders that I passed out at the last meeting?
I did.
Okay.
And thank you for the Heath bar.
Okay, thank you.
It's in my top drawer at the moment.
All right, thank you very much.
Good, I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Kim Pruitt,
hand on there for me.
9315 Southwest, 9315 Southwest 105th Street. I realized Molly's Law was passed, and I realized anti-tethering. What we are compelling to you guys, we have a huge unwanted pet population in Marion County that has to be addressed. That's what we're begging you to do. And you say it doesn't happen overnight. Kathy, you know, we've been trying to address this since March, whenever the UF study came in. We just need to put some of these ordinances in place to stop the amount of unwanted animals coming into our shelter. You stop what's coming in, it helps what's going out. It's not rocket science. So please, I'll work with you. I'll do the Facebook page, but like she said, you've got to work with us, and it's not happening. We're not seeing it. That's all we're asking.
Thank you.
Reduce that population.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant?
Okay, so, I appreciate your passion, all of you. I am going to ask, though, that when we get up and we talk about what's happening at our shelter, that we give accurate information.
Yes.
Karen, I know you're so passionate, and I think that's wonderful, but you just talked about 39 cats dying in their cages. That happened, that was when UF came in and did their assessment, and we have changed everything that we do over there. If there's been a new case, Jim, is there a new case that, ladies?
We're not going to
No.
talk from the audience. So Commissioner Bryant is going to make her comments. This is not a back and forth conversation. Commissioner Bryant will make her comments only. Mr. Sweet will give his report, and that is it.
Can you enlighten me if you've had, I got up and spoke with Jeannie because I'm trying to remember when this happened. So if you can enlighten me as to when this happened and what happened, I would be appreciative.
Okay. Jim Sweet, Acting Animal Services Director. Commissioners. So I can give you the information for November, and I can give you the information up to date for December at this time. In November, we did lose 25 animals. Now, those, the way that it's listed, those 25 animals include foster animals that people take home that may not make it. Unfortunately, that does occur. These numbers are less than our previous years. We haven't really changed too much how we're doing the foster other than the Good Samaritan as well. So what we're trying to do is give every animal an opportunity. And that's what we're doing, and that's the intent of our department, is to give them that opportunity at this time.
Thank you.
Okay, so was there a mass amount of animals that have died since the flu outbreak that we had before we changed our procedures?
I can't say that there's a mass. I have the information here. Every month there's a different amount depending on what comes in.
But those numbers continue to go down, and we've gotten much better at what we do.
Absolutely, and we're continuing.
We changed the sanitizer that we use. That's made a huge difference. And correct me if I'm giving any misinformation.
Yes, we have changed what we're using to sanitize our facility. It's not just helping with our care of our animals, but also the maintenance of our department, because it's not as corrosive as the chemicals we were using before. So long term, we're expecting to see some help to the facilities, not having to replace so many things as previously.
Okay. So, I mean, it just would be nice if what has been done, if the changes that have been made, if the positive steps that we have made would be acknowledged instead of continually talking about we're not doing it right. Our department has made great strides. Our employees care about those animals. I mean, we've got a great staff in place, and they're doing everything that they can. And for us to have to hear week after week after week after week about how wrong we are and about how we're doing it so wrong, it's just really disheartening. And I'm sure it's very, I'm sure our employees don't appreciate that as well. So, you know, I think it would be nice if you would talk about the strides that we have made and not continue to harp on what we haven't done or what we aren't doing. I know that I, for one, I'd like to hear some of the good things that are happening over in animal services. Second of all, Madam Chair, I would like to suggest that because it is something that we haven't done in a while, that we do an assessment, an evaluation of our animal services department. I'm sure that we have some needs over there. And, you know, as we came out of the recession, we were addressing all kinds of other priorities in other departments. And unfortunately, you know, there are other needs that we have to meet first because they are a priority first. With your permission, Madam Chair, or consensus of the board, I'd like to have an evaluation to see if there's any needs, because we do want to be supportive of our department and supportive of our staff. And anyway.
Well, actually, I think that will probably be brought for us whenever we go into our workshop. And
Yes, ma'am. Strategic planning.
For strategic planning. So if you're agreeable,
Yes.
if this is good for the board, that's when we'll address that. Will that be sufficient?
I'm good with that.
Okay,
I'm
very
good
good.
with that.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for your comments, Commissioner Bryant. I think you spoke very concisely on behalf of this board. Okay, do we have anyone else in the audience who has not addressed us this time for public comment? No one else, then we will be adjourned until 1:50 today. Thank you.